Hey all, I wanted to provide some commentary for this run as it's been something that I was working on for a very long time and finally successfully took down. As the opening card describes, Arya is a difficult challenge character who has half a heart. She may not drop beats, or else she dies, and the potion is consumed if she has one. She is stuck on dagger only, meaning she won't ever see any other weapons. And those are the big ones, although those are several other quirks that Arya has. I suppose the biggest thing to mention right now is that I'm doing all this on my StepManiax Dance Pad. It's one of the funnest ways that I find to play NecroDancer. And after seeing someone clear Aria before the DLC existed on a dance pad, they did it on a soft foam mat. I decided that one day I wanted to clear Arya myself. So a little bit about what I've done on this floor so far is I opened up a secret shop to find an arena. Noticing the grenades lets me throw bombs instead of detonating them on the floor. They add some damage and give a lot of crowd control that Arya needs to make it through a run successfully. I threw my hands a bit in frustration, not noticing that I had a large gold pile, and missed my opportunity to get a leprechaun charm from the first floor. This floor opens up pretty aggressively. In my panic, backing up, I do pull out without taking any damage, fortunately. The bats are giving me a bit of an issue. One of the things you want to do with Arya the most is try to remain confident with your movements, and that goes double time for when I'm actually wandering around on the dance pad. If I have a point where I don't know where I want to go or do, hit a wrong panel or something, things go off the rails very quickly. I decide I have a moment to shop around and decide to pick up transmute tomes and glass slippers right away. Having some defensive shoes is going to help a lot for safety. I decide to take a moment to wrangle this Minotaur into trying to have a gold pile that I can farm a leprechaun from. The leprechaun charm will give me bat protection as well as a couple other perks. So after some careful navigating, burning one beat on the statue, I managed to grab the leprechaun, which I was pretty happy with, not gonna lie. So I did spy a hidden chest on the floor when I was walking out and decided to burn both transmutes here and end up with some pretty decent items. I like to see mapping because confidence helps a lot with Arya once again, and the pulse spell is going to be really nice for taking care of certain bosses and things like that. So, one thing I'm going to be mentioning a few times at least is the third floor. When you're on the third floor of a zone, you're at the fastest tempo, there's the most dense packing of enemies, and you usually see the hardest versions of enemies. I don't want to spend too much time on any of the third levels of a zone, so I generally just try and kill the boss and exit, and farm minimally, maybe do a little shopping if it's safe. I notice immediately that I have a locked chop up here, but we have to deal with the red dragon first. Hit him with a pulse very quickly, very happy with that reaction, and I seal up the room with the Gorgon statue real quick. The shop reveals a monkey's paw, which is going to stop monkeys and other monkey-like enemies from being annoyances, and a torch of strength is very nice as we're going to get our first damage up. Arya really loves to have extra damage because dealing with enemies like this is a pain when you only have 1 damage. So we're up to 2 and decide that's enough, we're not going to mess around and risk getting hit. Fortissimo is a bit tricky when you want to do it flawlessly. And I don't love how the fight goes, but this guy gets the surprise on me, and I didn't exactly love that either, but I decided to not throw away the run and keep at it, and aggressively throw a ninja star in his dumb face, because he had little deviled eggs that wanted to ruin my run. So, not getting a flawless on the boss chest hurt a bit. Usually I would go for a black chest and get a practically guaranteed glass armor, a karate G for damage up, or shoes of strength for another damage up. But we keep going. We don't see too many helpful things immediately out of the gate, and we just want to try and start getting comfortable with Zone 4. The build isn't particularly perilous, but since we lost our potion on Fortissimo, I'm not feeling too great about advancing quickly. Food isn't going to help too much for my kind of skill level, as it's really only used by more expert speedrunners that will consume food while dropping down a trapdoor. And this lets you get around the missed beat mechanic that would normally kill Arya. We've got a horse coming up here that I have to deal with. I believe I forgot my damage for a moment and had a reminder that, hey, I have 2 damage, so that was nice. The pickaxe is also a nice little bonus here, as it lets you dig any walls that aren't gold, or basically level 4. So we tap out the wall pigs, so we don't get any surprise fireballs in case I decide to wander. See a shop in the corner. It doesn't look too scary to check out, and I'm feeling like I'd really like to see some protection at this point. Unfortunately, we just get a monocle. However, that's a really nice item because it's a headgear that lets you sight all items inside chests and in hidden rooms and such. It makes creating a build a lot easier. And once again, confidence is key. If I know an item exists in a chest, it's probably going to be a lot easier for me to figure out how I want to grab it. For example, these bomb charm up here. We have a very scary moment with this confused digging goblin dude because he will end you in a moment. So we pulse this open, grab our bomb charm, and we're going to be throwing big bombs in a 5x5 area. Usually call these throwing nukes in the community, and we got nukes, so we're feeling pretty happy about this. We're gonna take care of this fire pig because it just looks like bad news. Got some more nukes to stockpile. And although we lose the transmute scroll, I'm not sure if I would have even taken it. But we take an opportunity to slap the ogre real quick, because kinda tricky, but not really the worst Zone 4 boss. I was most worried about the mommy showing up on the next floor. We're feeling kinda risky about shopping, and notice that we have a mimic right away, which gives us our first hit of safety. The frost charm will make it so damage will actually cast greater freeze on all enemies. We throw a bomb to try and get to this glass armor more safely. And thankfully, we have a couple hits to spare now, so we're not super nervous anymore. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup here before we try advancing into the bottom corner. Once again, this is a 3rd floor, and the tempo, density of enemies and all that is something we want to be aware of. We don't want to farm too much. Reactions are very scary, and we drop our glass armor. Thankfully, we just picked it up. So we gotta burn some beats to get this pixie absorbed instead of letting it blow up on our face. And miss our parity check on the nightmare, losing all the safety that we just picked up. And almost walk into some perilous problems there. And I was really happy about scooting through that little exit there. I don't love being on no safety, but we see Death Metal. Throw a Ninja Star in his face to get rid of his shield and see what we can do. A grenade had just enough damage to kill him, so I took it. This is probably one of the biggest build struggles I had. I really wanted to get 3 damage by taking the Shoes of Strength, but I eventually settled that shield is probably going to be the better panic button, even though I just really wanted to get 3 strength. So, we might be noticing by now that Arya has some monsters that shouldn't be here. Why is there a Golem in Zone 3? Well, it's because all monsters from previous levels can show up on the floors that she's in. So this previous zone bleed is a little bit scary, but it's not too awful. We've got a Banshee, and this 2 damage is really starting to show its age because I had to walk all the way up there to get rid of it. We have no ice protection, so we want to be really careful about walking on ice, because if I step on the dance pad while I'm slipping on ice, that's a missed beat, and Arya is dead. So, we want to be extra careful to not attack while slipping on ice or anything like that. Fortunately, we find a Conjurer secret shop, and I decide to throw a ring and get Ring of Peace. That's going to help immensely because all of the bosses will be downgraded to their basic forms, as well as removing a little bit of the monster density from here on. Fortunately, my armor pluck was really nice too. I got heavy glass armor, and that gives me 3 free hits. Now, another thing to keep in mind is these hits do not protect me against dying from a missed beat. If I drop beat, that will kill instantly, and nothing short of a potion will save me. So we're making our way through Zone 3, and we pick up a Battle Shovel, which is really nice because if I dig, the next beat will do infinite damage. If we look in the corner, we can see the shovel lighting up some. That means I do infinite damage, and whatever it is I attack gets knocked out for sure. It's a nice perk in lieu of damage. It's a little tricky. We run out of this situation by popping shield to deal with it. It's a little scary, but we're gonna get on the 3rd floor. Once again, we don't want to spend too much time here, but I immediately notice we've got a potion. And we want this to just have more safety and confidence. I have no other way to blow it up, so I throw a nuke in there and go down to 1 nuke to grab this potion. Now, as much as I wanted to throw another grenade, I didn't want to go down to 0, so I decided to go a bit of a long way around. Once again, we don't want to spend too much time on this floor. We dig through and kill it instantly with infinite damage. Once again, infinite damage on the sarcophagus prevents a spawn coming out, and we sneak through Zone 3 without too much trouble. So, Conga decides to make a big sheet of ice in the middle for me. My lack of confidence drives me back some, and I realize I have to go through this ice, pause correctly, and then start up again while throwing a nuke and then coming back down. So I was very happy and also nervous with this fight. I was mostly interested in protecting the potion that I had just picked up. Thankfully, we still have Monocle, and we know what items are going to be available to pick. Shoes of Strength, once again. Now, I was really wanting to take it, but by this time, the damage is starting to not be too big of a deal. I have Peace Ring to reduce the really awful bosses that can show up, like Red Dragons, Ice Dragons. So, we're mostly concerned with getting rid of the boss and getting out at this point. We're not doing too much farming. pretty happy with our build. We could always use more safety or damage, sure, but at this point, we've kind of hit a tipping point, and you kind of get this feeling on Arya of being home free, and I felt that point once I got out of Zone 3. We take a little bit of safety on the way to grab a Scroll of Need. This is nice because in case I drop my potion somewhere, it is available to grab again under most circumstances for Arya. I go over here and grab the Blast Helm, even though I didn't really want to have the Blast Helm. This is because it gave me 3 bombs, but I decided to take the monocle not really for the chest peeking, but so I could continue to throw my bombs. When you hold the Blast Helm, it detonates the bomb instantly around you. In this situation, I wanted to be able to throw them to clear out exit rooms more safely. We burn a couple beats to dig and slap these enemies instantly, and I take a calculated hit, figuring that trying to fix my trajectory on the dance pad might have caused a missed beat. So we take a hit off the heavy glass armor, and don't worry about it too much. Well, with full mapping, we kind of know where the exit is because we can see it on the mini-map. However, this has me a bit nervous, so I decided to shield. But as we can see, we kind of had some derpy moments where what I thought would happen didn't line up. However, we fix it pretty well, and I start to get a little bit cautious because once again, we're on the 3rd floor, there's surprises, and we don't want to get hit by another rider. Skeleton rider, just like that one coming through. So, I adjust the volume a little bit and decide that Coral Rift shouldn't give me too many problems. We throw our dagger, throw a nuke, and that is enough. I calculated 6 damage is enough to kill Coral Rift, so wasn't too worried about it. We peek our chests and see that I finally have another damage up that I'm happy with taking. This glass jaw is going to double all of the output end damage that Arya has, so now we're looking at 4 damage. Oh, you thought we weren't getting spiders. No, we have spiders in Zone 1 for Arya as an extra little treat. So we discover some shield tomes because we no longer have Monocle's foresight to just tell us where everything is. I'm trying to stay in this mentality of the build is done, get out, you're almost done, let's go. So I decided to take the longer shield scroll instead of the shorter books because I already had the shield available as magic as well. So while we're getting to the end and I have some time to wrap up, Arya's often cited as having a lot of harsh penalties where you can't drop beat and such, you're weapon locked. However, she does have some benefits where she has this what we call passive peace, and that means that she has a reduced amount of monsters throughout all of her seeds, as well as a lot of items being removed from the item pool means that it's easier to find certain items when you know how to hunt them. That means things like if you know that you have a black chest and a boss, you know that you're probably going to get damage up or a glass armor out of it. Other things like knowing that she doesn't have Pain Ring or Pain Shoes available means that you know that Conjures and Transmogs won't be wasted on certain items that you can't receive. Finally, not having to worry about a weapon means that your dagger will do just fine and you don't have to spend extra brain cycles thinking about switching your weapon out, how you're going to attack this next one. It's always a dagger. So we open this up and see Freeze spell, and I decide I wanted to use this pulse real quick to deal with this Minotaur. And in a bit of a flare move, I take it out in the corner there before dropping it off and take Freeze and Shield out. We have basically all the safety we could want and hope for at this point, except for going overboard and adding more things that we've already seen, like the Frost Charm. We got a surprise Black Rider that we take care of real quick on the way out. I want to say, we check this barrel just before we head out. You get an infinite damage hit, slap, slap, and take the safe way out just because we're being cautious. We hit a floor 3 once again. We have an immediate way to see where the exit is. However, we don't want to rush too much and burn a potion on the way through. We're looking up and we see that there's 2 hits available on the heavy glass armor and a potion. Freeze. We want to try and keep our spells going for the very final fight, but we go ahead and grab a strength charm just because it's close by and have 6 damage. It's basically irrelevant by this point, because the only thing we have left is to tackle the golden loot. I open up the boss room with a nuke because I didn't want any surprises. I adjust the volume one more time real quick and decide that keeping my heavy glass armor is just fine. We hope for a quick kill and do a little bit of improvisation here. We do take 1 hit, shield immediately, fix parity, and hit the stairs. And yeah, I would say that was a pretty exhilarating feeling. My dog was watching from her little watchtower. She usually watches the backyard, but she was looking over at me quite a bit, so thanks for watching if you made it this far. And yeah, I'm surprised at how fun Arya really is to play, and even though it's a huge challenge, it was really awesome to finally get this done. So thanks for watching.